Firstly, do not, I repeat, do not pull for Fenny unless you want extra manifestations early, because she's literally free. I've heard of multiple newbies who pulled on her banner before claiming her. To claim her for free, all you have to do is go into event and click on invite to get a very good set of logistics along with her. You can farm her manifestations for free over time, and you only need M2, which won't take long. It's actually pretty crazy that they're just giving away a game-changing SSS plus tier unit for free. Not only is she an incredible support because of her insane ballistic buffs and resistant shred from her signature weapon, but the fact that she removes the need to reload your weapon changes everything. This might be the biggest change in meta for Snowbreak, and we're only just starting to test all the potential builds that her support skill unlocks for other operators. She's already made Coronet and Ethereal Cloud top tier DPS units again, since all ballistic DPS units are now making a massive comeback. I mean, she's making Mizuho seem viable, which used to be an absolutely garbage logistics set since launch. It was so bad, I dismantled it right after finding out you lose the stacks when you reload or use a support skill. It's not something incredible now because of her, but it does seem like it could be a good option for some operators in niche situations. Aside from being a great support, she also has the potential to be very good as a DPS, and we are just cooking the builds right now to see which ones are the best. But the hybrid DPS build using her ultimate skill is actually showing a lot of promise. Keep in mind that her DPS builds will take a while to test out, so keep an eye out for the full guide in a few days, and don't actually spend any currency pulling for lava bones or investing in weapons based on the current DPS build rankings. I've put them there as placeholder for preliminary testing. They're not final ranking. So I don't usually make videos for incomplete build guides, but this is such a major change to the meta that it could take a while to update everything. So I decided to make a quick guide in the meantime for those who need it. So I'm going to go a bit out of usual order and discuss her manifestations first. For her manifestations, you want to get M2 ASAP. It's super good because you really want to get the extra effects for her support skill along with the increased ammo capacity from it. Now, M3 sounds good too because of cooldown reduction, but she has 3 charges. The boss will literally die before your M3 will make a difference. The real big difference from manifestations after M2 is M5, but that's pretty much reserved for whales and leviathans trying to reach the top of top in neural leaderboards and kill the boss under 3 seconds. For her team recommendations, it's pretty simple. She's one of the best ballistic damage supports, so pair her with any ballistic DPS like Life Infinite Sights and a synergistic support like Moxer Shadowka for ballistic damage buffs to do insane ballistic damage. You could also use Enya for CC immunity in niche situations or tests to use Fenny's ult as sub DPS, but this stuff still needs testing, and her DPS teams also need quite a lot of testing since I have a bunch of ideas to test, like using 4-star Frisia and 5-star Yao to put burn on enemies for tier 2 lava bones buff for a massive hybrid burst DPS build. There's a few other teams I want to test too, so this section might take a while. Just be patient and wait for evaluations. Now let's get into her support builds, the ballistic damage buff and ammo support build. The idea of her support build is pretty simple. Once you have her support neural skills unlocked, you'll have 3 charges to get ammo without reloading, and you get a massive 40% ballistic damage buff from her logistic set as well. To be honest, this logistic set effect is pretty crazy. It's a massive support buff for ballistic DPS mains, but also has the potential to allow her to be a decent DPS. And you get this logistic set for free with pretty good rolls on the top 2 optimal substats, so all you have to do is roll for kinetic damage as the 3rd substat for DPS builds. You'd only find this logistic set if you're aiming to speedrun in Neuro. It's already pretty good enough to use as is. For her weapons, I recommend getting her signature weapon, Heart Hunter, because it's at least a 20% increase from her tier 5 4-star event weapon, Pixel Era, and she's going to stay in the meta for a long time, so you'll reap a lot of benefits from this weapon. It's at rank 4 in priority for getting a signature weapon to tier 2 right now, so it's one of the best weapons in the game. The resistance shred helps quite a bit, but it's really all the buffs together that make it a top tier weapon. For her neuronics, you want to unlock all of them ASAP for alignment index, because her Davos effect buffs the whole squad's ballistic damage by a significant amount if you equip a kinetic weapon on her. Obviously, the priority is her support skill neuronics if you can't afford them all, but you should try to unlock them all as soon as possible. Alright, now we get to her experimental DPS builds. The first build is just pure ballistic DPS build with the classic Amano set, same logistic substats and her standard skill neuronics as the priority. To maximize your DPS, remember to use your standard skill to the left or right, not forward or backward, because those will trigger effects other than Stargem Clip Ruby, which is the one you want for the kinetic damage buff. And of course, if you're using Amano Evato, then remember to ADS and hit weak points. There's also alternate options like her Reverie set, the Dharma set if you don't want to ADS, and Mizuho if you want to try it out for some reason. We don't know what the best set is for this build yet, but generally Amano Evato is what works the best for pure shooting DPS builds. And for the weapons for this build we have Heart Hunter, but you can also use Pixel Era, Wild Leer or Indicator. I haven't tested to see which weapons are the best yet, and this is just a ranking for preliminary testing, not the actual DPS rankings of the weapon. Our next DPS build is something that is only viable if you have Test. The Burst Kinetic Damage Ultimate Skill Hybrid DPS build. The idea of this build is to use Test to regen U energy and get her damage buffs, then shoot till you get enough U energy to use your ultimate skill when your target is mostly stationary, so you can maximize DPS. And the whole time you're going to keep shooting as much as you can. I think this build has potential for neural speedruns and this needs testing, but U energy recovery could be better for her rotation with this build than alignment index if you already do a ton of DPS. Her preferred logistic sets are Fenny, the classic ultimate skill damage buffing set, Reverie again, and Thebes if you have optimal tests. Again, not sure what's the best yet. Her neuronics priority would be her ultimate skill neuro clusters first, then her standard skill clusters, and for her weapons, we have Heart Hunter again, and an experimental inclusion of Lava Bones, which could potentially be good for this build when paired with operatives that apply burn and buff ballistic damage with the support skills like 4-star Fuchsia or 5-star Yao. For 4-star weapons, we have Pixel Era and Wild Leer again, but Odd Alley Cat with the U energy increase could also be a good option. As I said before, all of this needs a bunch of testing and is just a bunch of ideas right now. Also, because she's such a good support for Coronet, I made an update for the best pick from the free selector to be Fenny Coronet now if you have Fenny Starshine, because Coronet is now good all the way from early game to late game for new players. I've also started doing EN translations of CN exclusive official media released by Season, and you can find it usually near the top of the guide as I release them. There's going to be a bunch of updates to the whole guide and some new cool additions that I'm testing right now. I'm gonna get some feedback before I implement them, but I think a lot of people will find these new features super useful. Lastly, I want to wish Snowbreak a happy first anniversary and thank Season for creating such a great game for everyone. It's been a good first year. And I also want to thank all of you for watching my video and supporting me in various ways, whether it's by giving feedback or linking my guide to help new players. I couldn't have reached this 2K sub goal without you, and I'm truly grateful for your support. That's it for this video. Have a nice day.